order points, the material. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but yesterday morning. But what we worked on yesterday, what are the inputs to drive us for those decisions, right? So that was really a lot of conversation we had about what things do we need to know to have the right amount of material at the right time. So there's a lot of things that we rely on our customers for, but then we've got to figure out how to make sure it happens. Okay, so a lot of talk about that, and also finished parts, right? So one of the things is you can look at averages. Averages don't do us a whole lot of good, and cyclical orders like hose collars for the spring. There's other cyclical products for, like, even System Sensor has cyclical. We're finding out. We never knew it, but all of a sudden they'll have spikes. For 1 month they'll take 6 weeks worth, but then 1 month they might take 2 weeks worth. So an average is at 4, right? But that's not how they're ordering. So the ordering patterns is really driving us to make some of our decisions. They've moved along. Again, on the end of run sheets, they've come up with one single sheet. So I know Ann's working on that. So we'll have one end of run. So that's critical about having correct inventories when we shut down. Part of our customer complaint is because we didn't have the parts that we said we had, and so that was part of the issue that we had this week already. Again, inventory of product that we don't have, or what we say we have that we don't, is causing our customers a lot of heartache. All right?
There we are, blank again. So we're working on finishing up the work instructions for the demetalling process and standard work for grinding. Scott's going to talk to George about doing PMs on the grinders and get a schedule for that. Paul's going to talk to Terry to find out what his routine is. We've talked to Sammy about that, Jerry.
Yep.
And then yesterday we started talking about staging the regrind for use, so that, like, if we know that we need like 6 gaylords of regrind for a particular shift or whatever, we want to have some place where it's all put out, so the material handlers, whoever need it, know where to go get it and how much they're supposed to use for the night.
Okay. Very good. Take it out of the computer and put it visual.
Okay, so yesterday we kind of went into a great deal. We've got a couple of processes here. We got the mold installation process and the starter process. So we kind of went through these line by line and kind of dissected them a little bit and made a couple of changes to it, just so that it's more clear when in between the shift changes. Sometimes there's some discrepancies as far as where the setup is and what stage. So we're going to make a couple changes to those. Most forms actually are corrected. We just need to get them translated. And then today we're going to work on communication between the foreman and the setup guys and the material handlers. And we're going to look into some of the external and internal items that can be staged prior to setting up the tools. So that's kind of what we're going to work on as well today.
All right, one thing on that is, so somebody came up to me on second shift, which is a great question. They just tell me that we don't need to run EDAR. They just said that. So they just passes it up. That's not the answer, right? The answer is we didn't have an EDAR, we don't have the cables, we didn't have the opportunity. Every job should be running with EDAR. Unless sensors are broke, press is incapable, or we don't have the EDAR available. Who's making that decision is where we're falling behind. Somebody just setting it up, just making a decision, moving on. That's not who makes that decision. So when it's written down and says everything's okay, that person, I talked to him last night. You don't write down why it was done. I hate to tell you, but then you're going to be fired for it. Simple as that. If you just can't explain why you can't use it or who's making the decision, all I'm saying is give them the information. And if we go to check and start and the cables aren't hooked up and it's not hooked up, sorry, that's what we're explaining, so that you will be fired. So this is why we want to make sure it's absolutely clear on where the checklist is going. Okay? Sorry.
All right, so in our group, we got all of our vendors ranked and a quality scale and their terms and everything, so we can pick vendors from our list. We got all the tool room personnel here ranked at their skill set, so we know who can do what. We have our mold prep tracker is complete, and then we have our flow charts for our process for how we're going to actually do tools in-house or out-house. We have our area set for staging molds that need to be prepped. We just got to get our racking reorganized, but the area is cleared out. And now we're getting down into the details of it. We're going to create a checklist of what should be done at mold prep. We've got a couple of quick examples of that. And we also got our tracking system ready to go, right, Marty, on the, we're in the room? So we'll be able to track actual repairs as they're taking place when they're sent out and what's happening while they're being sent out with some quick visual controls. So all we got really left is kind of just to write a work instruction to incorporate all of this into one big work instruction and, reference the individual things.
Very good.